1988 Olympics, but they know that you, Eddie the Eagle, came in dead last.
Yes, 58th. I came in 58th.
And so you made a career and became the toast of the town by finishing dead last.
Kind of, but it was more than that, really. It was the fact that I was a trier, and I came from, a country with no snow, no training facilities, no ski jumps. I had no money, borrowed equipment, and I was exemplifying that whole Olympic spirit. I was this tiny little David of a country against these Goliath nations of jumping, and people thought this is what the Olympics is all about, and I was exemplifying that Olympic spirit. And I think that was far more important the reason why I became so popular at Calgary rather than just the fact that I came 58th.
Well, they say it was part of the Olympic spirit. However, they then changed the law or the rules so that you could never perform ever again.
That's right. It was very ironic that I became so popular by becoming Eddie the Eagle and exemplifying that Olympic spirit. And then I got banned because of it, because they said I was taking more attention than the guy who won the event. And they said, this is not right, this is not fair. And they thought I was making a mock of the sport and bringing the sport into disrepute. And they brought out the Eddie the Eagle rule. And it's to prevent people like me from competing at Olympic level, which I think was very, very short-sighted of them. It was a shame. So my wings were clipped.
You afterwards, tell me about your visit to the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Oh yes, I did the 90 meter, the big hill at the Olympic Games, and I had about 4 or 5 days before the closing ceremony. And so the Johnny Carson people flew me down to LA, and I was on the Johnny Carson show with Burt Reynolds. Had a wonderful chat with him for the whole afternoon in the green room, and then did the Johnny Carson show, and then I flew back for the closing ceremony. And so overnight, I went from where nobody really knew who I was, and then going to the Olympic Games and doing the Johnny Carson show, and then hundreds of millions of people around the world knew Eddie the Eagle.
What I remember is that they were afraid that when you jumped, they were afraid you didn't have enough speed or velocity to get back up the hill on the other side.
Yes, they were, and also because it was so windy at Calgary, because you had these Chinook winds at the Calgary, around the Calgary itself, and they were getting very nervous of the fact that if they had to jump in high winds, that my technique wasn't strong enough to land properly, and so there was all these rumors going around that if I was allowed to jump, that I might break my neck. But it was no worse for me than it was for everybody else. So some of the things were sort of blown out of all proportion, really. But I was just glad to make it there, and for me, getting to those Olympic Games was my gold medal, and I made it in the end. And I think people really appreciated the fact that I was there and doing it.
How far did you jump?
71 meters.
And what did the gold medal jump at?
Well, the guy who won was Matti Nuukkonen, but I can't remember how far he jumped. It was around, I think, 124 meters.
So he jumped almost twice as far as you did.
Yeah, I wish I could have held on to his skis as he was flying through the air. I might have gone another 20 meters as a result.
But with that, Michael Edwards, did you not set the Great Britain record for ski jumping?
I did, yes. That was one of the things I wanted to do at Calgary, because I knew that my ski jumping wasn't going to set the world alight. I wasn't going to win a gold medal or anything, but I wanted to try and achieve something at Calgary. And for me, my biggest achievement was the fact that I got a British record. And I as far as I know, it still stands officially. I'm not quite sure, but I jumped 71 meters, and that was the furthest I've ever jumped in any World Cup or World Championship or Olympics. And I was proud to have achieved that.
Michael Edwards is otherwise known as Eddie the Eagle. In 1988, he set the world on fire with some of the worst ski jumping ever seen. The movie about his life comes out February 26th. I'm going to dress up as Eddie the Eagle and go to the midnight showing, Michael.
Thank you. I'm surprised that you remember, because I'm sure you wouldn't have been born back in 1988.
I was, how old was I? I was, I was born in 67, so I was just over 20 years old. So
wow.
There you go.
Gosh, yes.
Eddie the Eagle, good luck with the movie, and thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
You got it. Michael Edwards, Eddie the Eagle, the movie of the same name, Eddie the Eagle, in theaters February 26th. That movie is right up my alley. 9:20 here, Big 550 KTRS.